Welcome to Double Tap here on YouTube. I am Marc Aflalo, half of the team of Double Tap TV with Stephen Scott. In this video from this week's episode, we recap what is Aira, and we talk about some of the competition like Be My Eyes.
The latest tech.
People love iPhone, and it's an important part of our daily lives.
Interviews.
You see far too many products that come on the market that you look at that you say, was a blind person ever even consulted for something like this?
Accessibility.
The most interesting thing over the last couple of years is the emphasis on gaming and accessibility.
This is Double Tap TV.
Hey guys, welcome along. I am Stephen Scott.
And I am Marc Aflalo. Stephen, I've got to ask you a very important question because we've talked about new iPhones, we talk about all the software platforms that go on out there, and we focus a lot on apps, and one app that you always rave about is Aira. And not only that, I got to be honest, because there's other apps out there that do similar things, but Aira, Be My Eyes, lots of these services that are out there to help give you a set of eyes when you need it. Are they that useful?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Look, it's a really simple thing, and I think Aira is a really interesting company because they started off as a company which provided visual interpreter services, which basically means a pair of eyes that can look out the back of your phone and tell you what's going on. So should a situation arise where I'm in trouble or I need some help or I'm just lost and I can't find my way back from somewhere, or I want to read a menu or whatever it is, and I don't want to rely on artificial intelligence to do it, I can get Aira on the line. It's a human being, it's an actual person who can talk to me, who can engage with me, who can see what I'm seeing or not seeing in my case, and be able to read the information to me, which is absolutely fantastic. But like I say, what's interesting about Aira is their intention was, and the AI part of their name was all about creating artificial intelligence to eventually take over the role of the human. And actually what's happened is they've kind of gone back on that. And they've said the popularity of this human service means that they don't want to do that anymore. They actually want to focus on human beings delivering the service versus robots, which kind of goes against the natural flow of things at the moment. Everything seems to be becoming automated to some degree or another. And we've seen apps like Seeing AI and Lookout on Google, doing similar things and bringing in the AI and doing really well. But sometimes you just need that human connection. Be My Eyes is another fantastic example. The difference being that Be My Eyes is volunteer driven. So you're connecting to a volunteer. That means that if it's something personal that you maybe need to ask a question about, you might not be too sure about giving that information over to a volunteer. Fine for checking out if these socks match or this shirt has got a stain on it, which it probably does. That's fine. But when it comes to personal information, like reading a letter, if it's got your address on it, that kind of thing, you want something like Aira because that's a paid-for service. These are professionals, and you're signing an agreement with them when you're working with them. So you have a bit more knowledge in the fact that your data will remain secure.
One of the popularities of Be My Eyes was the fact that because it's volunteer-based, there are hundreds of thousands of people worldwide who signed up and want to help people. Do we have the same access to the amount of people on Aira? Is it the same number of people available? Have you ever gotten into a situation where you're on hold waiting for someone, or is someone always there?
No, unfortunately with Aira, because they are paid agents, you don't have the same number of people. You're absolutely right. Be My Eyes says millions of people involved, and that's incredible, to be honest, the amount of people. There are more people who volunteer for Be My Eyes than actually actively use the service. So whenever you call, and because it's worldwide, whenever you call, you will get someone in some part of the world who will help you. So that's brilliant. But with Aira, you don't get that. Most of their agents are US-based. They have a limited number. They want to grow that, obviously. And they have to serve a number of countries, mainly English-speaking countries. So that can be challenging, and there have been times where people have been left on hold. They haven't been able to get through to someone. They try and prioritize clients who pay, because there is a free tier of Aira. You can essentially get it for free, but you only get 5 minutes per day, and they tend to prioritize people who pay over those customers for obvious reasons, right? If I'm paying for something, I should be able to get ahead of the queue, don't you think? So for that reason, it means that sometimes people are left behind. That's something Aira, I know, are keen to address, but that's always going to be the case, because you can't possibly have the same number of people who volunteer versus the number of people who are being paid.
That being said, though, a company that also, takes subscription money, such as Aira, can also use a lot of this funding to, build a better app and make that experience a lot better and go even beyond the app itself on our typical smartphones. I mean, we talked about the Envision glasses on a couple shows back. on this season of Double Tap TV, and the fact that Aira was working on those glasses gave people a little bit of a sense of freedom. They didn't have to walk around with their phone in their hand pointing it at things. That makes a big difference, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that it's available on that platform and others, which we'll talk about today, does make it so much better an experience, makes it part of your world as opposed to being something a little unusual. I've done it. I've walked down streets where I've had to hold my phone up in order for them to see where I'm going. They're obviously following me via GPS as well, which is brilliant. So I'm able to get navigation. And, I'll tell you a quick story, Mark. I was in Manchester, England, where Sean lives. I was visiting him just recently. And I had the opportunity to go out in the morning. My assistant was with me, but I decided that morning to try and go out for myself and just go for a coffee. Now, it doesn't sound like much. You go for coffee every day, right? You don't even think about it. You jump in the car, you just go. But when you're blind or you're someone who has limited mobility, you really everything like that just seems so much. It seems so unbelievably difficult to do on your own. And I got Aira, I got the app open, I asked the agent, hey, could you help me find a coffee shop? The agent said, no problem at all. Lovely guy, he tells me exactly where I am. He tells me, to hold my phone up so you can see where I am, he can see where the traffic lights are, and we proceed to start on our journey. And he directs me straight to the coffee shop, straight in the door, right up to the counter, and says to me, okay, the agent or the customer agent is going to speak to you now in the cafe. And the person did and asked what I wanted. The agent was then able to help me find a seat. And then I sat down, the person brought the coffee over, and I'm sitting there drinking my coffee thinking, I've just done what everybody on this planet pretty much does. And I've done it myself for the very first time independently in 40 years. And it felt amazing. And it didn't feel like I was using a service. I didn't feel like I was a burden on anybody to do that. And that's why Aira for me is so special.
What an incredible sense of freedom. We've got a great guest standing by from Aira. Let's take a quick break and come back here on Double Tap TV and dive right in.
You're watching Double Tap TV. Get involved. Follow us at Double Tap On Air or email us feedback@doubletaponair.com. Double Tap TV will be right back.
Thanks for watching this Double Tap video. Again, if you're not already subscribed to our channel, hit that subscribe button and don't forget the notification bell. It will help you get notified when we've got a brand new video just like this to share with you.